Welcome to the ACC Network and women's basketball coming your way from historic Reynolds Coliseum on the campus of NC State. The number 3 Wolfpack with Elisa Cunane getting ready to take on the Seminoles of Florida State. The first and only time they'll play in the regular season. NC State coming off a loss, yes, a loss in conference to Notre Dame. Had the tiebreak over Louisville, who also only has 1 loss in the league. And there you see Florida State, an uphill battle at 4-5 if they want to get into the NCAA tournament. And we welcome you, Pam Ward, along with Stephanie White, won a national championship at Purdue. And yes, you heard right, NC State did lose a conference game. An 18-game conference game winning streak came to an end against Notre Dame. So now it's time to start a new one.
It sure is. It's time for them to bounce back. They're coming back home, which is where they always play very well. One of the things that happened against Notre Dame, though, was Elisa Cunane got in foul trouble. And when she got in foul trouble, NC State really struggled on the offensive end of the floor. And Pam, we're just not used to seeing that. So I expect them to come back home, be aggressive to the rim, and put some shots in.
Yeah, you're right about the offense. One of the most potent offensive teams in the country and absolutely dominating in the ACC. First in points per game, also in overall field goal percentage, and yes, they can light it up from the outside as well. They are number 1 in three-point percentage as well. So that's what NC State could do. Sue Semrau's team right now on the outside looking in for the NCAA tournament. They haven't missed it in 10 years, but they do have an opportunity with their schedule to play themselves in.
Yeah, Florida State is a team that's finally healthy. They're bouncing back. They're trending in the right direction, but they can't keep alternating wins and losses. Every night is a back against the wall night for Florida State, and tonight's no exception.
And Charlie Cream, our bracketologist, told us today this is what they need to do. 3 games starting tonight with NC State, then others against Notre Dame, Duke, and Miami. He said the next 7 to 10 days we should all pretty much know what Florida State's future will be, the immediate future, and that is Morgan Jones. What a treat it is to watch her play. She has been spectacular, particularly in the last couple of weeks. Their most potent offensive weapon, and we are underway. Florida State in the dark uniforms, and NC State wearing some special uniforms that we will talk about a bit later on in their home whites. And the shot from Aaron Howard is off the mark. Good rebound by Valencia Myers back in the starting lineup. And Sammy Puisis, that is what she does, her specialty, jacking up the threes.
Well, right away, Westmore cannot be happy giving up an offensive rebound on the first possession. That was an area they really struggled against Notre Dame. Gave up 13 offensive rebounds in that matchup.
And now you see the starting 5 for NC State. Reina Perez, Kayla Jones, Kai Crutchfield, all taking advantage of the COVID extra year super seniors for this team. Shot clock winding down. Brown Turner with the miss, but the ball goes off of Morgan Jones. Kia Brown Turner got off to a really slow start this season, but has looked more like herself the last few games.
She's been aggressive to the rim. Teams are playing her at the three-point line. They're not allowing her to just catch and shoot. And Westmore said, I told her she's got to stop backing up further. She's got to be aggressive and go to the rim.
Good look at the 3. Nice box out by Myers to keep Kayla Jones away from the basketball. And there is JBT, who in the last 4 games is shooting 59% from the floor, 4 straight double-digit scoring games. Had 10 of her 14 points in that magnificent comeback against Louisville in the 4th quarter. Florida State starting 5. Look out for number 11. Omaria Gordon is a true freshman point guard going through some growing pains right now. There she is. No pain there.
Every freshman goes through growing pains, but particularly a freshman point guard. Really understanding how do you go from being a playmaker for yourself to being a playmaker for your team. But she's got to continue to do that, knock down open shots.
Look into Cunane. That was a great catch, and we told you about Morgan Jones' athleticism. We saw her with a monster block against Emily Engstler against Louisville last week. Look at this one.
Well, Morgan Jones just does such a good job of getting to help side. She uses her length and her athleticism. Even if she's not on time, she makes up for it because she can elevate.
Senior from Jonesboro, Georgia, with a nice clean block. NC State looking for its first points. They need a shot. They get one from Perez. Cunane hunts down the rebound and gets the follow.
And Pam, that was the first possession on that block shot that Elisa Cunane got a touch. And Westmore told us, we have got to get the ball inside. She's got to get a touch every time down the floor. And NC State really does need to do it. First possession early in offense, put pressure on the defense.
Yeah, she only took 5 shots against Notre Dame, was in some foul trouble. But she definitely has to be the focal point of the offense, as you mentioned. NC State has been getting off to some slow starts lately. Jones commits the foul. That was another concern for head coach Westmore. There, you take a look at the coach, ACC Coach of the Year last year, and this would be his 100th career win in the ACC, most wins among active coaches in this league, and has really taken them to some nice heights lately. A premature exit in the Sweet 16 to Indiana last year as a #1 seed. And that's one reason why those super seniors came back. They want another chance. Jones with the rebound. Luises couldn't handle it cleanly, in fact lost it. The ball goes over to the Wolfpack. Sue Semrau in her 24th year at Florida State. Most wins in the history of this program, and has beaten a lot of top 5 teams. Have not beaten NC State since 2019, but they did not play at all last year because of COVID. That's a sweet look. Cunane into Kayla Jones.
Yeah, really good action between those two. Jones looking inside to Cunane in the high-low. And then what's going to happen every time Elisa Cunane touches the ball? There's going to be a double. There's going to be help side. She does a good job of finding her teammates.
And that's really key, isn't it? When the double comes, your post has to be a good passer. Morgan Jones.
You have to be a good passer, and you have to get rid of it before the double gets there.
Yeah,
I think that's an area
passer, right?
Yeah, and I mean, that's an area that Elisa Cunane has really improved. She knows the double team's coming. She understands where her teammates are going to be around her, and because of how well NC State shoots the ball, it makes it a really tough decision for teams. Defend inside or defend outside.
A very balanced team. Even Cunane is not a big-time scorer numbers-wise. Kayla Jones knocking it down from the outside, ties the game.
And you mentioned it right off the top, Pam. NC State leads the league in every offensive category: scoring offense, field goal percentage, 3-point field goal percentage. So you really do have to pick your poison and try to keep them uncomfortable.
Cunane couldn't get the rebound, but Perez, the smallest player on the floor, is able to sneak in. Good pace, Jones. Cunane around to Crutchfield, and then Elisa lost it out of bounds.
Well, Elisa Cunane has to get a touch inside, and when you turn your head, Kayla Jones, great job of moving without the basketball. And then when you become so worried about Cunane inside, it opens up the perimeter, and Jones knocks down the 3.
There are 3 players on this NC State team shooting at least 40% from 3. How about they knock down 15 of them in a game against Pitt?
Well, they can light it up, and they've got 4 players around her every single time on the floor that can knock it down. We've seen Crutchfield get hot too.
Yep, Crutchfield got the rebound, now brings it down. Cunane now posting up against River Baldwin, #1 for Florida State. And she was being a little bit too physical with Cunane. Give the personal foul to Baldwin, the junior from Alabama.
Florida State foul #1, River Baldwin. Baldwin's first, second team foul.
These two teams have not met since the 2020 ACC Tournament Final, in which NC State was a winner. You just talked about Crutchfield. There she goes.
Well, Crutchfield had 4 threes early in the season against Florida. She had 4 threes and 16 points against North Carolina. She's known for her defense, but boy, she can light it up as well. She's very efficient from the perimeter. She picks and chooses when to shoot those shots, and she makes you pay when she does.
She is now red hot from outside. Has hit 7 of her last 14 threes. Oh, answer.
3-point basket, Bianca
And that is big for Bianca Jackson, the South Carolina transfer. Missed some games this year because of injury and COVID protocol. Not quite looked like herself this season. Brown Turner, her turn now. The threes are raining down right now in Reynolds.
That's right, it is raining threes, and this is a team that in their loss to Notre Dame were 5 of 20 from the three-point line, which is not what we're used to seeing from NC State. So back in their confines of home, they're letting it fly.
They're 3 of 5, which is 60%, and there is a 3-second violation. Kayla Jones happy. And while she's been there, the Wolfpack under Wes Moore have been dominating at home. We'll take a look at some of the numbers when we come back. Welcome back. NC State has certainly enjoyed being at Reynolds Coliseum. 13 straight ACC wins at home. And Coach Wes Moore can show some emotion. And not only do they win at home, they win by a lot on average. And 3 of their 19 wins have come against top 25 teams this season. Wes Moore showing us a side that I certainly have not seen in person. An 18-game win streak overall against ACC opponents that went back to last year, including the ACC championship tournament run, went by the wayside against Notre Dame. Their 10-0 start ties best in their history, and they've also won 8 straight wins on the road before they lost in South Bend. And Wes Moore, when we talked to him before this game, just talked about how and he had said to us earlier in the year, sort of a lack of urgency, but was concerned about not coming out of the gate strongly. This is a stretch of 4 games in 8 days. A lot going on.
And it's the month of February, and they have a target on their back as Reina Perez knocks down another 3. But this is also a Notre Dame team that's trending upward. I mean, a team that's playing really good basketball right now. Maya Dotson was outstanding with 20 points and 10 rebounds and really challenging the interior. And, you know, you don't ever want to lose as a coach, but right now maybe this is a good wake-up call for NC State.
You're right about Dotson, who outplayed Cunane in the post in that victory. Meanwhile, NC State, you see, has hit their last 5 shots. 4 of them have been threes. Oh my gosh, there they go. Perez, 2 in a row.
And Pam, I think NC State in the dimension of Reina Perez, I mean, she just takes them to another level. And she's been a little up and down from an offensive standpoint. Only shot the ball 4 times at Notre Dame, really struggled. But she's a player that when she's hot, when she's actively looking for her shot, she just gives them another weapon and gives them a boost.
She has scored in double figures in 10 games this season. Florida State's offense has gone missing. Shot clock winding down. Myers got her shot blocked by Kayla Jones, and Jones celebrates. And Kayla Jones, I mean, if you're a Wolfpack fan, I would imagine she's got to be one of your favorite players.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, she really is the glue for this team. She does anything and everything that this team needs to position themselves from success. She's worked her way, you know, into Wes Moore's heart because of her work and because of her consistency and because of her resilience.
You see that 15-3 run. State has made 5 straight threes. Best 3-point shooting team in the league, 4th best in the country. Cunane being defended well, but was able to get away until her shot was blocked by the freshman Michaela Timpson. Timpson is another player for Sue Semrau, who is such a huge upside.
Sue Semrau told us our weak side help is going to be important. Anytime Cunane gets the basketball, we have to be there.
Timpson has it ring out. Good hustle by Gordon to keep it alive. It's the threes for NC State that have given them this big lead.
It is, and Reina Perez knocks one down from the top of the key. And again, I just think an added weapon and consistent double-digit score is what she could be for NC State. And there are times where maybe she's a little bit too unselfish trying to get everybody else involved. But man, NC State is such a dangerous team, and it is difficult when you're not a 3-point shooting team because trading 2s for 3s is not a good recipe against this team.
No, that will not work. Florida State has only scored once in the last 5 minutes. This ball goes back over to them. Lisa Cunane, preseason ACC Player of the Year, has made the cut list on the late season Wooden National Player of the Year list, down to the final 20. And Camille Hobby comes in for her, and Camille Hobby, number 41 in white, is not somebody whose numbers are going to jump off the page at you, but boy, Sue Semrau, most of the opposing coaches we talk to speak about Camille Hobby's value.
Well, it's important that you have somebody that comes in for Elisa Cunane and holds serve, so to speak. But what I like about Hobby's dynamic is that she's a different player. She's more physical. You play her differently on the low block. She's different defensively and giving you more of a power game than Elisa Cunane does.
Good screen setter as well, as we just saw in that play. Jada Boyd able to get around it and was fouled. River Baldwin whistled for her second personal foul. Jada Boyd's last year co-6th player of the year in the ACC. As we remind you that this doubleheader, look at this second game, Virginia Tech and Notre Dame. Yep, the team that just beat NC State coming up next right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Charlie Cream has Virginia Tech as a 6 seed. It's ridiculous they're not ranked. Notre Dame he has as a 4 seed.
Did Charlie say that, or was that you saying that?
That was my editorial.
Oh, okay.
That it's ridiculous that Virginia Tech is ranked. And they have a chance in South Bend, right? Notre Dame's unbeaten at home this year. Muffet's in the studio, so she's going to be distracted during the second game. But that should be a great matchup coming up.
It's going to be a great matchup, and Notre Dame's undefeated at home, but they're also a team that continues to get better, more confident, more comfortable. Olivia Miles, to me, is one of the best point guards in the country already.
And she's like a freshman and a half. Remember, she came in last season. Wonderful player.
We have super seniors and freshmen and a half.
Yes. The things that COVID has done.
Yes.
Block there is Gordon Hobby. We just talked about her presence, able to bother that shot. 5 seconds left to shoot now. Timpson, got a good look at her on the turnaround, couldn't get it to go. Shot clock's off for the Pack. JBT left all alone. Jakia Brown-Turner's first points. Or second 3, I should say. NC State is 6 of 8 from 3. So Florida State gets the bucket from Gordon, but it's a 24-12 lead for the Pack, in large part because they're almost unstoppable beyond the arc.
NC State has doubled up Florida State in part because of their three-point shooting. 6 for 8 from the three-point line, and everybody's getting involved, Pam. We've got multiple players who have knocked down a 3. Raina Perez and Jakia Brown-Turner have 2 each. I mean, this is a dangerous team. Lead the league in three-point field goal percentage, and you really do have to pick your poison, but especially at home, shooting the ball incredibly well.
And you see that they had a nice run towards the end. NC State hitting 7 of their last 8 after a slow start, and they are shooting better from 3 than they are from 2. And this is a team that is known for its balance. And 6 of the 7 Wolfpack players who got onto the floor scored in that first quarter. Officials Jeff Smith, Bruce Morris, and Karen Prieto tonight. Pink face mask. There's a big K-Yow initiative coming up. The K-Yow game that is so big for this NC State program will be played on Monday night and will be on our family of networks as Georgia Tech is in that play for K game.
It's always a special.
Go ahead.
It's always a special time of year when you can again remind people of the impact of K-Yow's legacy, and remind people of the impact that everyone, of course, faces with cancer in their families, and an opportunity to make a difference, and an opportunity to donate.
Absolutely, a big initiative coming up. Kayal, there you see her right on the court. Kayal Court did wonderful things with this program when she was there, really put them into the national spotlight, and that game will be on ESPN2, the Play for K game. And that's some interesting games coming up. Boston College is a challenge. Duke, Wake, Syracuse. State trying to win the regular season championship. Florida State got to get some things figured out on the offensive end. Puisis has it roll off. Hobby, who starts the second quarter for Cunane, is able to get the rebound. Cunane, by the way, took 2 shots in that first quarter, hit both of them. But when you're hitting threes like that,
yeah, it's a tough position to be in, you know, from a coaching standpoint. NC State shoots the ball so well, but Westmore has emphasized time and time again he wants Elisa Cunane to get shots and get touches.
Shot clock winding down. They'll get the 3 in the corner. Oh my, and it hit. That's Jada Boyd.
Well, as we mentioned before, Pam, you don't really want to lose as a coach, but sometimes a team needs a wake-up call. This is a team that had been walking through conference play, that maybe got a little too comfortable. Westmore's talked about being a little up and down in terms of urgency and intensity throughout the season, and maybe that is exactly what they needed to snap them back to the reality of what they're trying to accomplish this year.
Right. Trying to get certainly much farther than the Sweet 16, which is where their season ended last year.
Well, this was just really good ball movement. The shot clock down to 1. The ball had gone side to side. Multiple players touched it, and Boyd hit that 3 in the corner.
So 5 different Wolfpack players now have hit a 3. Now that Boyd has nailed her first attempt. NC State as a team has made 7 in a row from beyond the arc. Now Turner intercepted that from her own player, from a Boyd. Steps inside. Got it blocked by Jones. Morgan Jones off to a quick start, but has been pretty quiet lately, sitting on 2 points. And then the block by Hobby.
Well, she hadn't gotten a lot of touches, Pam. You know, Florida State runs a play where they have her on the block. They ran at the last possession. She didn't get a shot, but where they just run a quick pin down for her. I like that action for her, and they need to get her some touches.
And a shot by Sarah Bajetti, the Arizona State transfer from Helsinki, Finland. Hitting the shot. She's the backup point guard coming in for Gordon. Sometimes they will play, be on the floor at the same time. Hobby took a step before she dribbled.
Hey, but that's what shot blocking does. It makes you think about it, right? I mean, Hobby had the right idea for the shot fake, but when you have Timpson coming over, when you have Morgan Jones, who's a great shot blocker, it gets in your mind a little bit.
Big difference, 7 of 9. Wow, 78% again for a team that shoots 39%, 4th best in the nation. And they've doubled that tonight. Tough bounce pass from Puisis. The ball goes back over to NC State.
And Pam, I'd venture to say that Westmore's not going to leave Elisa Cunane over on the bench for much longer. And if we recall, he talked about, you know, the time, I believe it was at Clemson, where he didn't get her back in the ball game. You know, his staff was out with COVID, and players out with COVID, and he forgot essentially that she was over there. And I think this is going to be one of those times his staff reminds him, you want to get her in the game and you want to get her some touches.
Jones able to save the ball in to Aaron Howard. Yeah, she only played 14 minutes in that game at Clemson, but Wes was all by himself. He was the only coach that was available that night because of the COVID protocols. And that's one of the many things that assistant coaches can keep track of. Hobby misses wide right. Puisis just needs a little bit of space.
Yeah, she really does. And Sammy Puisis is another one for Florida State that really needs to get going. And, you know, that's one of the things that Sue Simrell had mentioned to us about Amaria Gordon. Understanding how to get the ball to your teammates to make them successful. And Sarah Bajetti finds her in transition, and that's where she can be successful.
NC State finally misses a 3. after they had made 7 in a row. Oh boy, Myers unable to corral that pass from Bajetti.
Yeah, that's one of those passes, Pam, that you've got to get. You've got to save it. You know, it's a tough look. It's a tough pass. Might be a tough catch, but you got to sell out for that.
So now Bajetti slows things down, and we see Cunane at the scorer's table. So Elisa will come in at the next stoppage of play. She's not played at all here in the second quarter and went out with about a minute and a half left to go in the first. Bajetti, from 3. She's given them a punch since coming into the game.
And she sure has, and she has the ability to do that. She can shoot the 3, she gets downhill, has a little bit more experience.
8-0 run for the Seminoles. It's now over a 4-minute drought. Perez short on the 3. A couple of players, Aaron Howard and Boyd, hit the deck. As we take a timeout, Elisa Cunane will be coming back in, and we will take a look at these NC State uniforms and honoring Black excellence in this Black History Month.
I think just the jerseys is just celebrating Black excellence, and you know, every day we need to celebrate Black excellence, not just, you know, in February, but every day and all year long.
You know, a lot of times we often recognize people once they pass away, and I feel like we shouldn't only recognize them when they're going through their works and through their process, but just along the way and along the journey, especially me as a Black woman, just, you know, having our excellence being recognized while we're still here.
NC State wearing those special uniforms tonight to honor Black excellence, and the players honoring the people in their lives. Particularly, they want to do it while they're still alive and still being able to be honored. Kai Crutchfield among them, who we heard from in that soundbite, and Elisa Cunane back on the floor. And the run continues. It's a 10-0 run now for Florida State. NC State was only 2 of 7 with Cunane on the bench.
And that's one of the tendencies, Pam. We talked about it early in the ball game, is when you're hitting 3s, especially early, then you have a tendency to settle for 3s, not move the ball, not attack in the paint. Certainly a poor post-entry pass right there. You've got to get touches in the paint. It doesn't always have to be a post-entry pass, but when you have an All-American on the floor, it should be.
And now 4 turnovers during this scoring drought. And talked about Kai Crutchfield and the person that's most important in her life. And that's her mom, Jocelyn. Sweet picture of them, and the person that Kai's talked about has helped her and inspired her, and part of this initiative that NC State is honoring during this Black History Month. And Jakia Brown-Turner, for her, she's got a grandma, Marion Henderson, who has just been a key component. And family, such an important thing, and a great initiative going on for NC State in this very important month. ESPN Plus always has some great storytelling. And my goodness, NC State, all of a sudden, Steph White can't hold on to the basketball.
Yeah, and the turnovers were something that Wes Moore talked to us about, especially on post entries. He says, you know what, it's everybody. Elisa Cunane has to get good positioning and hold it. Our guards have to make the right pass at the right time, getting the right angle as well. And right now, that's not happening.
And 5 turnovers now during this scoreless drought that has reached almost 6 minutes for NC State. There's 2 states tonight. Jakia Brown-Turner turns around, a whistle. Have to be more specific, Steph.
Yes, you do. Make sure that everyone knows who you're talking about.
And he talked about Wes Moore and is trying to figure some things out. It was interesting. He said these are kind of the dog days of the season in February. You know, you're thinking ahead to March. This is a team that had been unbeaten in the ACC. And thinking about maybe the bigger picture, and I think as a head coach for him, it's kind of difficult to try to keep them motivated and and to kind of grind it out now.
Well, it is a tough time because it is those dog days. It's not new anymore. You've come back for Christmas. You're in conference play. You're playing the same opponents that you're used to playing. It is a grinded out time. But what I don't understand is this is an experienced team, and this is a last opportunity that they're going to have to accomplish what they want to do together. And so that brings a different sense of urgency that you should have every single night, and really valuing and understanding, the moment. And I think that that's an opportunity that Westmore has to really talk to this team about coming off of a loss.
Canaan hustling there. And Morgan Jones fouled on the way to the basket. Those free throws by Brown Turner broke a drought of 6 minutes and 10 seconds without any points for the Pack. They don't have a field goal, obviously, during that time. And Kayla Jones called for the personal foul. NC State has scored only 5 points in this quarter after putting up 24 in the first 10 minutes.
And these are the first free throw attempts for Florida State, and Morgan Jones is one of the best at getting to the line. And again, you can easily settle into taking jump shots and settling, and I think both of these teams need to be more aggressive to the rim.
1 out of 2 for Jones. NC State had led by as many as 15 points. The lead now is 6. As we go inside, 2.5 to go. And Canaan, Perez found her, and Canaan found the bottom of the net. Second bucket for Elisa tonight.
Yeah, that was really good patience by Perez. She waited until Canaan got herself in position and then delivered the pass.
Perez coming over last year, a transfer, and taking advantage of that super senior season.
Pam, that was that pin down from Morgan Jones that I was talking about, but Valencia Myers didn't set the screen. You've got to set the screen. Morgan Jones is money in that 15 to 17 foot area. If she just needs a little bit of time and a little bit of daylight.
Not a good entry pass into Canaan, and Kayla Jones says, yeah, I kind of messed that one up. But yeah, get it to Morgan Jones, right? She has been by far their most potent offensive weapon. Hitting over 50% from the floor, averaging 15.5 points per game, and we've seen her with a couple of really spectacular performances. And you're right, she's got that true jump shot. She gets way off the floor.
She does. She elevates over defenders. She uses her length. She's typically on balance. Finding ways to get her touches. She's not somebody that creates off the bounce for herself, but if you can get her in some of those pin down actions, some of those Iverson cuts, which come over the top of the free throw line and then come back with quick pin-aways.
Canaan just picked up her first foul. Guarding Timpson, the freshman, he goes right at her.
Michaela Timpson's going to be a really good player in this league. She's a player who just needs some fundamental skill work. She needs some experience.
And Perez with a nifty move to the basket with a chance to shoot a couple of free throws. But yeah, Timpson is someone that we've talked to opposing coaches. They're really excited for her future. Wish that was not against them in the ACC, but she's a kid from a small town in Georgia, right? And now she's, with the tough competition night in and night out, but her upside is tremendous. Number 21, there she is, and called a coach's dream by Sue Semrau. And they got on her early. I think she was like in the 6th grade when they first said, we need her.
Well, and that's what so much of it is about. I mean, just building and establishing those relationships early and continuing to build those relationships throughout the recruiting process. And you're right, Michaela Timpson has such great upside. It'll be really exciting to see what happens for her after she has an off season of work.
Air ball thrown up by Gordon, the point guard.
And Pam, this is part of that growth process. And Sue Semrau talked to us about really trying to get her point guards to understand how to get everybody on the same page. And right now, Florida State looks like an offensive team where everybody's trying to do it themselves as opposed to trying to do it together.
Another nifty Morgan Jones block. Sending the ball out of bounds.
Boy, she can get up. I mean, she just gets she gets a hand on it. Her timing is perfect.
Now here's something that, how about Diamond Johnson has not gone in? Usually she's the first sub in and comes in the first immediate timeout. Johnson in there now, number 0, the smallest player out there, but not seeing a lot of action tonight. There she is. And an opportunity for Florida State to get the last points of the half. Jetty came in for Gordon to run the point. Long 3, just off the back rim. And what was a 15-point lead is down to 8. NC State just 9 points in that quarter. Time to get you to the studio. It's Kelly Chelsea Muffett and Kelsey Riggs.
Guys, thanks. Welcome into this ACC Network halftime report. As she said, Kelly Gramlich, the Hall of Famer, Coach Muffet McGraw, and Chelsea Gray hanging out with me, Kelsey Riggs. And guys, NC State with the 33-25 lead at the break. Second quarter, not so good for the Wolfpack, Coach, but they came out shooting hot, already made 7 threes in the first half. How were they able to do that?
That's been the difference. They've got some wide open looks, really doing a good job of moving the ball, getting their feet set, taking really good shots, not using the dribble, just catching and scoring, and that's what they do best.
Kelly?
Yeah, I think with NC State, you're seeing a team that shot the ball really well, and we've seen them do this a few times where they come out blazing in that first quarter, and sometimes in the second quarter they get a little sloppy because things are feeling good and they're passing the ball a little more errantly. So I think NC State has to be aware of that. And what the announcers were saying, they're in those dog days of February. They're looking ahead to March. They have to focus in on the game of the night here in early February.
Yeah, I definitely see a sense of urgency from the entire team. But one person in particular, Rainer Perez, is really, really aggressive this game. She already has 5 assists in this first half, really fueling this NC State offense. And that's what you're looking for after a game like last time.
On the other side of things, Chelsea, Florida State got right back in it in that second quarter. It's only an 8-point game now at the half. In the locker room, what is the message and what do you need to see from them in the second half?
Stay consistent, get shots on goal, be efficient defensively, and then they live with the results. I think that's the message that you have to talk to them and have confidence in them coming out in this third quarter.
Kelly?
Yeah, guys, for me, it's guard the shooters. Know where these shooters are, especially in transition. Run them off the line, make them put the ball on the floor, make them take a 2, because the way Rainer Perez and JBT and Kayla Jones are shooting the ball, that's the reason that Florida State's down right now, because NC State's made 7 threes. So run these guards off the line.
Morgan Jones came out struggling tonight. She's not getting a lot of good looks. I think she's being the focus of the defense. They're doing a really good job on her. She's going to have to get going because that's the problem with Florida State. They don't have another scorer besides Morgan Jones, so somebody's going to have to step up. And I think Gordon looks like she's trying, but only 4 assists. That's the problem. I think Stephanie mentioned it. They're trying to go one-on-one, not playing as a team.
NC State with the 8-point lead at the half. This is a Wolfpack team that averages around 8 threes per game, second best in the ACC. They already have 7 in the first half. NC State with the 8-point lead over FSU at the break. And Wolfpack fans, stay with me because you're not going to like this next part. We do have to go back to what happened earlier this week and a huge win for the Irish at home. They come up with the big win, knock off number 3 NC State. 69-66 the final. The shot at the buzzer, no good. First top 5 win under head coach Niele Ivey, so enjoyed the celebration after that, and a big deal for them. Get the win at home, first win against a top 5 opponent since 2019. Have somebody with us that knows a thing or two about top 5 wins at home for the Irish, and that is Muffet McGraw. Coach, you were there for that game. What did you see from the Irish and the way that they were able to come out and take care of business against a really good NC State team?
For the beginning, it was defense. That was a difference. Notre Dame played some defense. They held North Carolina State to one shot, out-rebounded them by sending everybody to the boards. They did a great job of kind of team rebounding. They took care of the basketball, only 8 turnovers, a low for the season, and they really did a great job on Cunane. I have to say, Cunane getting into foul trouble definitely had an effect on the game, but Maya Dotson really proved why she is one of the post players in this league that we need to talk about a little bit more.
I totally agree. Maya Dotson was the X factor, was the factor in that basketball game, a big reason of why Notre Dame was able to get it done. You know, we talk about Olivia Miles and her productivity, rightfully so, but Maya Dotson, I think, was the reason as to why they beat NC State.
Outside of the South Carolina game for NC State, there are 2 other losses, Georgia and Notre Dame. They got Cunane in foul trouble early. That's what Georgia and Notre Dame both did. That's the key. And think about this. Notre Dame won that game, and Olivia Miles didn't even play that well. So they could have played even better. That was a huge win for Notre Dame.
Maya Dotson had that 20-point, 10-rebound double-double, and obviously, as you guys just mentioned, did a good job with Elisa Cunane, held her to just 13 points, able to build on what they did against NC State. Meanwhile, NC State trying to put that loss in the rear view mirror. They've got an 8-point lead over Florida State at the break.
Welcome back. NC State, led by as many as 15, relied on the 3-ball early. Reina Perez was one of their 3 points in a 14-2 run in which they closed the first quarter, but then it was Florida State coming back. Timpson, the magnificent freshman, fueling a 10-0 run. So the Seminoles back in this game. NC State scored only 9 points in that second quarter, so it's a close one as we get ready to paint maybe a fabulous ending in this game. NC State coming off a loss to Notre Dame. Pam Ward along with Stephanie White, and yeah, we had there were droughts on both sides in that first half.
Yeah, there really were, and you mentioned it. It was a game of runs, and NC State started out the ball game shooting the ball incredibly well from the 3-point line, 6 for 8 in the first quarter, and everybody was getting a touch. Reina Perez was getting a touch. Jada Boyd from 3, really knocking it down, and NC State then went cold in the second quarter, started turning the ball over, and Florida State took advantage. Their own 10-0 run, as you mentioned, Sammy Puisis from 3, Sarah Bajetti from 3, and a really good job of attacking and closing the gaps. And what you have to do when you're on the road in this league, you just have to put yourself in position for success, and Florida State did with that run.
The last 7.5 minutes of that second quarter, Florida State going on their run. NC State had 6 turnovers and 6 shot attempts in the last 7.5 minutes, and that's why we've got ourselves a relatively close game. Elisa Cunane, always a good option to start things off with her.
Yeah, she really is, and I think that you have to go down almost every possession and get her a touch inside right now. Establish inside. She doesn't have to shoot it, but it puts pressure on the defense. And if you're Westmore, you're talking to your team about not settling. The first open shot isn't always the best shot.
And they kind of fell in love with that 3-point line after hitting 6 of their first 8 from out there. There's a turnover. Cunane picks it off. Crutchfield, there's the penetration. Looked like Howard got a hand on it. Ball stays with the Pack. NC State coming in 4th best in the nation in 3-point shooting percentage, but Westmore, whenever you talk to him, he talks about number 33, kind of going inside out with her. With Cunane. Sets the screen, rolls. Brown Turner, open look at a 3, and that one was well short. Rebound Morgan Jones. Jones on the move. Just so skilled. Left it short. Jones a little slow getting up. 5-on-4 basketball right now.
You got to take advantage of it if you're NC State.
And Perez blows right by Puisis and then blew the layup. Unfortunately, Jones was able to run back and get into the play, so she appears to be okay. Trying to go backdoor to Puisis. Kayla Jones. Cunane literally kicked it.
I mean, it's just sloppy basketball right now, by both teams. Missing layups, poor passing, turning the ball over. I mean, you think about the course of a season, and you typically see that in the fall. You see that as you get right into conference play. But this is the time of year where you want to be trending upward, right? You want to be peaking by the time you start postseason play. And this is the first time that these two teams have played in almost 2 years, right? So this is not a situation where you're playing somebody for the second time. They know you inside out. Now, right now, NC State needs to tighten things up.
Not the lead back to double digits. Projected to be right now, according to Charlie Cream, the #2 overall seed. They are #2 in the net rankings behind South Carolina, who has been #1 pretty much all season. Florida State very much on the outside looking in, just 10-9 on the year overall. They've had to use 11 different starting lineups. They had players injured at the beginning of the season. This is something that you see Sue Semrau do quite a bit. Steph has talked to her freshman point guard, Amaria Gordon, when she's on the bench.
Yeah, really trying to teach every opportunity that she gets, help her understand, you know, when to get other people involved, how best to get other people involved, what she needs to do to run the offense, as Kunain gets to right there.
And that's pretty much unstoppable when Kunain can turn around like that.
And again,
8 points in this, pardon me, the first couple minutes of this quarter.
Yeah, and again, if you're Florida State, you want to try to get Morgan Jones the ball in a position where she can shoot some jump shots. Now, right now, offensively, she's struggled. She hasn't gotten into a rhythm, and they need her to be in a rhythm for success.
Absolutely. Timpson with the miss. I know Muffet McGraw talked about it at halftime. They have Jones as their primary scorer, but really nobody else that they can rely on. There, Bajetti, the flying Finn, goes in and gets the bucket. Timeout, NC State up 14 at Reynolds. Florida State, this is a Seminole team that had high expectations coming in, picked 16th in the nation, 5th in the ACC, but oh, something happened. They had injuries, they had COVID issues, 11 different starting lineups in their first 20 games, and here they are, 10-9, under 500 in the ACC. And Sue Semrau's team does not miss the NCAA tournament often. In fact, it's been 10 calendar years. Charlie Cream told our crew earlier today that it's go time, right? The next 3 games after this one, huge. Notre Dame, Duke, Miami, and trying to pull the upset off against NC State if they want any chance of being in the NCAA field.
Yeah, I think every game is a back against the wall game right now for Florida State. They have alternated wins and losses. Yes, they had their fair share of adversity and obstacles to overcome at the beginning of the season, and now they've got to find a way to string back-to-back wins together.
And it's very difficult ACC this season. You have 8 teams, according to Charlie, will make it into the NCAA tournament. And Sarah Bajetti getting a little bit more playing time now at the point instead of Gordon, the freshman. Morgan Jones. Safe to say that they need to get her going here?
Yeah, no question. You know, and Bajetti on the floor because of her experience, because she has a little bit more savvy, but you see Morgan Jones' numbers, what she's averaged on the season and what she's done tonight. The game plan is always going to be to not allow Morgan Jones touches. And Sue Semrau talked about that. NC State, we've been talking about their offense, but they're a really good defensive team as well. And they try to take you out of what you want to do. They have length, they have athleticism, you know, they have basketball IQ, and really using that to try to make things difficult for Morgan Jones. So really important for Sue Semrau, her staff, and this team to find ways to make her life easier.
There's number 24 in honor of Kobe Bryant. And Morgan, this is only the 3rd game that Florida State has played against a ranked opponent all year. Georgia Tech and Louisville both after the New Year hit. And in those 2 games, Morgan is averaging 20 points per game, but struggling tonight. Reina Perez from the outside.
Every player on NC State's roster has the ability to shoot that 3 when you go underneath an on-ball screen. Now, there has to be a little bit more urgency to get up and close out and get a hand up.
That's the lead back to double digits. Perez 3 of 6 from distance. Bajetti took a lot of contact, nothing called. Kayla Jones waits for some reinforcements. Perez, Crutchfield for three, got it.
And that's the shot you want. The drive, get 2 feet in the paint, find the shooter on the perimeter. No need to settle for the first shot in offense. Break a defense down and get that high percentage look.
And there's Morgan Jones with her specialty. After back-to-back made threes for the Pack. Kia Brown-Turner able to get some separation from Puisis. Rebound by Timpson. And Bajetti just decides to pull up and shoot. Rebound Jones.
Yeah, I don't think Sue Seminoles going to like that shot selection. Bad shot selection turns into transition offense for NC State. I mean, that's the thing. The best recipe for transition defense is really good offensive execution.
Yep. Jones found Crutchfield for the bucket after the quick shot by Bajetti. Now Morgan Jones with another miss. Florida State not getting a lot of offensive rebounds. Kayla Jones, good defense there by Howard. Jones, her turn.
I mean, it's great execution. I really like NC State in the pick and roll. I wish they would run more of it because just as soon as Cunane rolls down, the post defenders cross, they switch, they X, and Kayla Jones capable of making that three-point shot. Nobody was near her.
Good rebound by Cunane off the Puisis miss. Biggest lead of the night for State is 17 points. Jones took it away. Morgan Jones passes it to Timkins, who took steps. So NC State started the game hot from three. They start the third quarter hot from three.
They found a little rhythm. Reyna Perez, that drive and kick to Crutchfield for three. Coming back on the other end, Kayla Jones, another one.
Cannot wait for March Madness to tip off on St. Patrick's Day Eve. And right now, the first reveal by the committee, South Carolina at number 1. There you see NC State at number 3. Going all the way down. Not a lot of ACC teams in there. Okay, of course. What do you think, Steph, of that first reveal we saw?
Well, I think that there's a little movement that can be had, Pam. I think Oregon's going to be a team that's moving up. We certainly knew that once they got healthy, they would be a tough team in February and March. They've got Arizona tomorrow, Stanford later in the month. I think Baylor's moving out. They've had some tough losses, some bad losses to some teams that have opportunities to move in. Oklahoma being one of them, who's gotten them twice. Oklahoma still has Texas, Iowa State opportunities to play up and play in. And Georgia Tech opportunities to play in. They've been a solid team all season long. They've had a couple of bad losses, but they've got NC State on Monday. They go to Virginia Tech, and then they have Notre Dame at home later in the month. So both teams opportunities to move into that top 16.
Absolutely a big time for Georgia Tech. Cunane making the defensive play, and Oklahoma sweeping Baylor for the first time since 2009. Jenny Baranczyk doing a terrific job as the new head coach there at OU. And a big weekend. Texas and Baylor will play each other twice this weekend. A couple of teams that are in that picture. Some things will be clarified in the Big 12, but OU certainly making a nice push. And remember, after us, Notre Dame and Virginia Tech right here on the ACC Network. That's another big one. River Baldwin in and hits from the spot right around the free throw line. Breaking a 13-2 NC State run, fueled by another spell of being hot from three. Cunane one-on-one with Baldwin, pass it over to Boyd. Boyd with the miss, but hustled to try to get the rebound. Good job by Jada Boyd, the tie-up. Florida State gets it on the alternate possession. Coming up Sunday night, our ACC Legend Series features former NC State head coach and Hall of Famer Kay Yow. Won over 700 games, 4 ACC titles, 20 NCAA tournaments. 30-minute documentary, part of our Play for K Day, starts at 8 Eastern Sunday night right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. And what an inspiration and classy individual Coach Yow was, and not just for what she did on the basketball court, but mostly for what she did off of it. Just a terrific human being that we were privileged to get to know, and we're certainly going to check that out on Sunday.
I can't wait to watch that. And you know, I love all of the Yowisms. And I can't wait till you can hear her say those and see the way that she's impacted so many of her players' lives and so many of the people's lives in women's basketball.
Oh, Perez, that's a perfect feed to Cunane, who has a chance for a three-point play.
And Reyna Perez has been really solid in this ball game. She's been making the right plays, the right decisions, getting the ball to Cunane in position for her to be successful.
Perez was the Big West Player of the Year a couple years ago at Cal State Fullerton, and then came right when Ace Koenig graduated, and just sort of perfect timing. And Coach Westmore knew how fortunate he was for Perez to come last year, and then the bonus season because of COVID getting her this year. NC State outscoring Florida State by 10 in this third quarter. Saturday night, Duke, North Carolina men, 6 Eastern time on ESPN. Always a big one, even though Carolina is out of the top 25.
Records don't matter in rivalry matchups, man. You throw everything to the side. It's going to be a terrific environment.
And Perez running the show way out by midcourt. And posting up Myers. Perez left open for three. Cunane kept it alive, but Bianca Jackson able to get it. Interrupted momentarily. Seminoles have to go. It's Gordon, the freshman. And Wolfpack outscoring Florida State 20-10 in that third quarter. Elisa Cunane and company now with an 18-point advantage. Capping off our night tonight with this great doubleheader game right when we're finished. Virginia Tech playing at Notre Dame, the team that just beat NC State. 8 Eastern time, top of the hour here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. And with ACC teams, according to Charlie Cream, these are your top seeds. NC State, Louisville, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. And then you see the other ones, Virginia Tech, Carolina, Duke, and Boston College, according to Charlie Cream, who came out with his new bracketology this morning. And Steph, you're looking at some big games for the top 4 teams.
Yeah, big games when you talk about holding serve for seeds or trying to improve seeding. For NC State, it's at Boston College, a tough place to play, a game that they need to win. Make sure that you win the ones you're supposed to. Louisville and North Carolina, they have Notre Dame twice, but I think at North Carolina could be a tough one. Georgia Tech at Virginia Tech, again, always a tough place to play. Virginia Tech trying to, play and improve seeding, and so is Georgia Tech and Notre Dame. We'll have this game February 17th at Georgia Tech. I think that's going to be a big one.
Yeah, a huge one, really for both sides. That was not pretty at all for NC State to start off this fourth quarter. And to take a look at Westmore. Lisa Cunane starting this fourth quarter on the bench. Pam Ward and Stephanie White joining you from Reynolds Coliseum. NC State trying to bounce back from their first loss in the league since last year's regular season. Had won 18 straight. Morgan Jones able to slice in. She's had to work for everything tonight.
She has. Nothing has come easy. We haven't seen one opportunity where she could catch and shoot and pull up in the mid-range. She has definitely been kept off balance, everything difficult.
Bobby with the miss. And you see the comparison, and that's the one player who really can't afford to have an off night. Morgan Jones by far their biggest offensive threat. Number 24, you see her hanging out Right side of your screen, and Johnson. Okay, this is going to be an interesting question for Coach Moore after the game. Why is Diamond Johnson not getting a lot of playing time? She played the final minute of the second quarter. We didn't see her at all in the third quarter. Steph.
Well, Pam, I mean, there are a lot of things that go into it. Particularly in the third quarter, there was one opportunity for Diamond Johnson when you could tell there was a specific play that Coach Moore wanted to run, and she didn't make the cut. And there are a lot of things that go into it. Sometimes it's not just about production. It's about what you're trying to get. It's about matchups. It's about a lot of different things. So it would be interesting to hear his comments, but certainly coaches make decisions based more off of the whole than the pieces that we often get to see in games on television.
Yeah, and certainly I didn't mean to put you in a bad spot there. We don't know exactly what's going on, but it's weird because Diamond Johnson is got to be, right, the leader for sixth player of the year in this league, averaging 12 points a game, second only to Cunane on this club, and has not gotten much playing time at all, but did something that in the game that you referenced that Coach Moore wasn't thrilled about. He'll like that steal.
Yeah, and the impact that she can have in a short period of time is huge. I mean, she's a player who can get hot quickly as Jakia Brown-Turner knocks down another one. She can get hot quickly. She can get her team on a run. So certainly has an opportunity right here to be an impact.
Leads her team in steals, as you saw, also in threes per game. Average-wise, NC State tonight is 11 of 19 from three. That's 58%.
Well, Diamond Johnson getting the loose ball right here and pushing in transition, and head up, always up, understands how to get somebody the ball, and Jakia Brown-Turner, who's been quiet in this second half until now, knocking down that three.
Here you see the three-point field goals. NC State, one of the best in the country, but they average 8 per game, have 11 tonight. And they've come in bunches. NC State able to get it relatively close, but then NC State stormed out about midway through the third quarter, started hitting threes, and now they have this really chunky lead with less than 7 minutes to go in the game. Foul drawn out on the perimeter. Simpson picks it up. Not a lot of fouls in this game, just 9 overall for Florida State, 6 for NC State. Now Turner, nice, able to get around the defender, Courtney Weber.
I like that read, and Pam, I've often talked about the potential for Jakia Brown-Turner to be a dominant offensive player, but right there using her length, using her size off the inbound, going right into the quick post up.
In her last 4 games, JBT has averaged 13 points per game, all of them in double figures, starting to come on.
Yeah, I mean, I like moving her around. I think that she's got a really good skill set. For Jakia Brown-Turner to take this next step in her growth process, as you see her numbers right there, I think it's got to be more of a scoring mindset.
Yeah, this is an athlete who was a unanimous first-team All-ACC player last year, honorable mention All-American according to the Associated Press, and you saw those numbers getting started in the first 7 ACC games, just 7 points per game, no double-digit games, and now not only averaging double digits the last 4 games, but hitting 59% of her shots. And yeah, Coach Moore has talked about that all year with the numbers down for Jakia, being more aggressive. She's a terrific three-point shooter, just trying to diversify her game.
And have that aggressive mentality. I mean, she's a player who can score in bunches, but she can also have a tendency to disappear. And NC State doesn't need for her to disappear, and for her own development, continuing to be a threat on the floor in multiple ways than just shooting the basketball.
Morgan Jones' foul sent Crutchfield to the line where she hit them both. So Kai now the 4th Wolfpack player into double figures, led by JBT's 13. She's right on her average for the last few games. Gordon picks up her dribble. Hobby charge. Won by Howard. And the fans at Reynolds say, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. You know, I agree with Wes Moore. I think that could have been a flop.
And another turnover. Hobby ends up on the floor again. Florida State averaging 69 points per game this season. They are 30 below that right now. Not scored more than 13 points in any quarter tonight.
Well, we've been talking about Florida State and you know what it's going to take for them. Their back is against the wall, but they've got to get more from their upperclassmen. If they're going to try to make any kind of push right now, they've got to get more from their upperclassmen. Bianca Jackson, they need more from her. Valencia Myers, they need more from her. Morgan Jones can't shoulder all the load.
Courtney Weber is another player, averaged 12 points per game last year, under 5 this year. Trying to find, as you said, that at least a second player. It's always good to have 3 you can rely on, and right now it's just Jones, Morgan Jones for Florida State. She has 9 to lead the way for the Seminoles tonight. Another one-on-one move, and they don't get a shot off. NC State shutting down the other state as we take a timeout.
NC State has been terrific from the three-point line. Started out 6 of them in the first quarter. Everybody has been getting involved in the action. We know this is a dangerous team. They lead the ACC in three-point field goal percentage, in scoring offense, and regular field goal percentage. But tonight they've been exceptional. 11 threes on the ball game, and season high 15 at Pitt, shooting the ball incredibly well. And what I like most about it is that lots of different players are getting involved and getting touches.
Five different Wolfpack players have hit at least 1 3 tonight. Been an 8-point lead at the half, but it's been all Pack in the second half. Madison Hayes getting some playing time now for the Wolfpack as Coach Moore is starting to get his reserves some playing time.
But Pam, that's an example right there. Madison Hayes comes into the ballgame for the first time and has taken a 3. And you know, it's get yourself involved a little bit, but you do have a tendency, if you're on a 3-point shooting team, it's contagious, right? You take those shots, and you know, it's part of, I think, the growth process for this team.
Take a look at the upcoming schedule for NC State, Georgia Tech, that big Play for K game at Reynolds coming up on ESPN 2 on Monday night. Then Boston College, much improved. Duke. They've got Celeste Taylor back. Good to see Carol Lawson back on the sidelines as well. And so that's what's coming up for Wes Moore's team in first place. Louisville had a close game against Clemson, and now they are up comfortably on the road. And remember, they both have 1 loss, but NC State owns the tiebreaker because they beat them in their lone head-to-head meeting this season. Gordon lost the ball. Been a tough night for the freshman. A little bit of a hard hit as Howard gets up. So they are number 2, only behind South Carolina in the net, 5-2 against the top 25. And yes, Charlie Cream has him not just as the number 1 seed, but as the number 2 overall seed, right behind South Carolina. Remember, they lost to South Carolina to start the season. Fell to Georgia in a game that we had the privilege to call on that crazy, the overtime loss to Georgia. And then on the last time they played, when they lost to Notre Dame. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, this is an NC State team that has been incredibly consistent. You know, they've won the games that they're supposed to win. It's always fun when you are successful in those top 25 matchups. That game against Georgia, that was incredible. Sarah Ashley Barker hit that three to send it to overtime. That was just an outstanding win for Georgia on the road.
And that one was at Reynolds. Ryan Johnson back in. Diamond has not scored tonight, has only taken 3 shots. Played 11 minutes.
Foul charge to number 0, Diamond Johnson. Her second personal, that is the 5th team foul.
Johnson coming over from Rutgers, where she was a second-team All-Big Ten performer on the All-Freshman team last year. Gordon at the line. After being fouled by Johnson. Do you think Coach Moore will consider this to be a good bounce back? I mean, it's obviously we want the win, but what do you think? What are you thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, certainly you want the win, and you know, this is a night where his team shot the ball incredibly well. And, you know, I don't think he'll feel good about how smooth it was really on either end of the floor. It was a game of runs, certainly, and as many of them are when you get into conference play, especially when you really get into this gritty time of conference play. But as Wes Moore looks to March and talking to his team about why you came back, why these super seniors came back, what we want to accomplish in terms of making it to a Final Four. There are a lot of things that they have an opportunity to go back to the film and correct and clean up and try to be playing their best basketball as they head into March.
So NC State projected to be a #1 seed, and this is the Bridgeport region that Charlie Crean foresees. Indiana in a close game right now against Minnesota. Then he has LSU and Baylor as the 3 and the 4. And Baylor has a couple of games this weekend against Texas. Still a lot of basketball to be played, obviously. The conference tournaments will have a big say. And Charlie has 8 teams from the ACC going in. As we turned into a free throw shooting game right now. That's Jessica Timmons, a freshman from Charlotte. Getting some playing time. And remember, this is they're on a stretch, excuse me. They played on Tuesday, so 4th game in 8 days. So, you know, perhaps seeing these players get a little bit more playing time than even with the healthy lead, an opportunity to rest people like Cunane. On Sunday they got, or Monday they have that game coming up against Georgia Tech. NC State going to get its 20th win of the season. And Wes Moore, ACC win number 100 with this victory tonight. It was a 20-3 run in the first quarter that really got things going when they were hitting threes, and they have not looked back since. And they have held Florida State to only 33% shooting from the floor. Morgan Jones at Baldwin on the floor. Against State, pardon me.
We'd seen a pretty clean game, really, you know, up until this point where there weren't a lot of foul calls, not a lot of free throw opportunities. And I guess if you think about Florida State and missed opportunities, getting to the line is another area where they could continue to find ways to chip away, you know, being aggressive to the rim. Morgan Jones, one of the best at getting opportunities at the foul line.
Isabella Nicoletti coming in, the redshirt junior from Brazil, playing in just her 9th game. And Morgan Jones, not the kind of night that certainly they needed from her. Morgan just 9 points tonight, 3 of 10 from the floor. And then after an outstanding week, she averaged 22 points, 55% from the floor, and wins over Louisville, or lost, pardon me, to Louisville and a win over Virginia. Zay James, another freshman in the ball game, has a chance to score now as she heads to the free throw line.
Going to the line, number 10, Zay James.
When you look at Isaiah James and Genesis Bryant and Jessica Timmons, you know, all of these players who had come in and really thought they would have more of an opportunity than they did have because of the COVID year and multiple players staying. And Westmore talked about in non-conference trying to build some depth with all of those players. But when you get into conference play, you tighten out that rotation. So really good opportunity for them right now to get some game action.
And Coach Moore giving them credit for kind of accepting that. Come in, the super seniors decide to stay, and he has talked about these players. Like Timmons, a lot of talent, great future, but right now with the bench tightening up, they're not getting a lot of playing time.
They're playing behind veteran, experienced players who certainly, you know, didn't expect to get another year, and then once that came out that they had that option and they decided to stay. He really does give this young crew a lot of credit for accepting that, and he's really excited about the potential that they have in this program in the future.
And Genesis Bryant, the young sophomore, nailing the three. Gets the lead up to 20. As we go down to the final 45 seconds, and one note from this game is Diamond Johnson did not score tonight. This is her first scoreless game of the season. Not get a lot of minutes. And has been their second leading scorer. Actually, the first scoreless game of her career, scored in every game for Rutgers last season as well. That would be an interesting question for Coach Moore when the game is over, but it's a healthy win, a good win for a team that is in this tough stretch, playing a lot of games, coming back after losing by 3 on the road at Notre Dame.
At this point in the year,
go ahead,
Pam, and at this point in the year too, as the season continues to progress, you got to win the ones you're supposed to win. And you have to take what you can take from the film and watching it. Understand if you're NC State that you are always going to get everybody's best shot.
And certainly the target on the back. I was going to say that Elisa Cunane tonight played 23 minutes, 6 rebounds, 11 points. Got some bruises. Good game coming out. That's going to be a tough one, boy. Georgia Tech. Lorella Kubai might add a couple of bruises to Cunane and vice versa. That'll be a fun game coming up Monday night.
It sure will be. Georgia Tech, an excellent defensive team, and NC State going to have to be very disciplined on the offensive end of the floor.
Yeah, the best offensive team in the league taking on the best defensive team on Monday night.
What's going to give, Pam? What's going to give?
An emotional night, and we play for K game, but NC State riding a lot of threes tonight, able to win it by the final of 68-48. They had 4 players in double figures. Brown Turner leading the way with 14 points. And Reina Perez, my goodness, a really nice all-around game for their point guard, both as far as facilitating on offense and hitting some shots from the outside.
Yeah, she was terrific. She really did have her team, clicking when she had the ball in her hands, understanding who to get the ball to, when to get the ball to them. Felt like she had control of the offense.
And a lot of the offense, Jakia Brown Turner, particularly early. How about 3 of 5 from 3? Another 13-point game for JBT.
Yeah, she started out the game really aggressive to the rim, knocking down threes. I love it when they move her around on the floor. She gets some post-ups, she attacks, she gets to the foul line, because she certainly is a capable volume scorer.
And we are joined now by Jakia Brown-Turner. Jakia, thank you very much for joining us. 3 of 5 from 3 tonight. What's going on with you? Sort of a slow start in the ACC, but the last few games you're averaging 13 points per game. What has been the difference for you?
I'm just doing the little things and just playing hard. And when you play hard, play defense, offense will come.
Jakia, this was an opportunity for you guys to come home and bounce back from a loss at Notre Dame. What are your thoughts on how your team performed tonight?
I think we shot the ball really well this game. We got a lot of stops, a lot of transition buckets, and I think we played an overall good game.
And Jakia, your team is wearing those uniforms tonight to honor Black excellence. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me, celebrating Black History Month, not just 1 month, but all year round.
All right, Jakia, another great effort. Looking forward to the Georgia Tech game on Monday. Thank you so much. Continued success.
Thank you so much.
All right, JBT, another big game. Wes Moore, after that 1-game losing streak, gets the win. For Stephanie White, I'm Pam Ward, as we say so long from Reynolds Coliseum.
Alongside Kelly Gramlich, the Hall of Famer, Coach Muffet McGraw, and Chelsea Gray, I'm Kelsey Riggs. And how about what we just saw from NC State? A 20-point win over FSU. We were curious. We thought we knew how they would bounce back, Coach, after losing to Notre Dame, and they bounced back in a big way. What was your major takeaway, Coach, from that game?
Well, they did, and they shot the ball extremely well. But I think the problem they're having is the time of the season, and they talked about it on the broadcast. You get to this point in the year, and the girls are looking ahead and saying, let's just get to the tournament. We've played enough. And the coaches, of course, are wanting them to play hard and play well every game. But I think there's that look ahead to March. Let's just get there. We're tired of the season. It's a grind. They need a break, and they need to find the joy. They don't look like they have the joy back just yet.
Yeah, today's game, everybody got a little bit of love. Like Coach said, great 3-point shooting, balanced scoring, but the assists really stood out to me. Everybody playing off of each other. Raina Perez led them with 8, but 16 assists for a game. That was excellent, and I think that's where the 3-point they was playing off of each other.
Yeah, NC State, you guys mentioned shooting really well, finished with 11 three-pointers, shot nearly 50% from beyond the arc, so certainly a good performance from them. And we heard them on the broadcast mention what lies ahead. Is Georgia Tech going to be a big game on Monday? Monday's rest, playing again, and how would they respond as they welcomed in FSU. Wes Moore looking for his 100th ACC win tonight. He's got to be happy with the way things started, especially Chelsea when Jakia Brown-Turner starts shooting like that.
Yeah, NC State shot the ball really well. Florida State struggled to guard the 3-point line in the first half and in the second. NC State had a balanced scoring night. Raina Perez really kind of kicked this game off. Very aggressive, efficient from the beginning of the game with 8 assists. Good all-around game for NC State.
Like to see the way that she was working, but also the way that Cunane is able to do that. The and one. NC State led by as many as 18, the biggest lead of the game that they had so far. And not done yet, Diamond Johnson. The steal finds a wide open Jakia Brown-Turner and says, okay, might as well take this one myself. Had a game high 13 points. NC State wins 68-48, their 8th 20-win season in the last 9 years. A 20-point win for them. And Chelsea, Coach said with Notre Dame, when you're coming off a win like that, you want to play again. But if you're NC State, I would imagine you also want to hurry up and come back and put that one behind you. And they were able to do that tonight.
They sure were. I mean, they started off the game with a little bit more intensity and a little bit more focus. Florida State had a difficult time from the beginning with them. And I think if you can get that consistent play from their guards and have the balance with Kunane, they'll be in good shape.
You know, it's tough for the coaches because you said Westmore got to be happy with that. I'm sure he's going to find some things he's not happy with. And it's so important at this time that the kids out there, I mean, girls just want to have fun, right? The players just want to have fun. They want to enjoy it. They want to find the joy and all that. And Wes is having a hard time finding that joy right now. I think he's still thinking about that Notre Dame loss. Time to put it behind you and let's have some fun.
You can't say girls just want to have fun and not sing it to us, Coach. That's what I was expecting. If you were here, I would be dancing, but you're not, so I guess we have to move on. NC State with their 21st straight home win over a ranked opponent. And Kelly, someone that has been a key piece of this team, not just this season, but last season as well, is Reyna Perez, and it seemed like she really got going in this game as well.
Kels, you know, when Reyna Perez gets going, you and I start singing Gaga. So I don't know if we need to do that now or later. But Reyna Perez, 11 points, 8 assists in this game. When she is aggressive and when she looks for her shot early, NC State is better. I think at times she defers a bit. She's a great three-point shooter, a great facilitator, and I think she needs to be the aggressor from the jump in every single game, especially starting in that first quarter, and she did that today.
11 points and 8 assists for her. And also we talked in the halftime about the way that NC State was able to shoot the three ball. They finished with 11 threes. 7 of those rather came in the first half. So a good bounce back win for them.